So it goes like this, like without understanding how people use your products and information, you're more likely to develop information that meets the needs of your authors or your subject matter experts rather than those who need your product and services to meet their goals and get their job done. So how true it is, right? Like all of us, we use various products, and when we get stuck, we just want to go to a particular section where I just want to complete this particular task. And the recent survey also says that an attention span of a particular user is less than 8 seconds. So, so we are not writing novels as tech writers. If you see all the information that we write, it's not like novels, very interesting. So it's all very technical concepts that we are trying to give them. So, so when a particular user is stuck in a particular task, they want to use the accessibility is what is very important, and quick how to information is what they need. So this is the concept, this is something that we've always been doing for quite some time now, like information architecture. How can we implement the information architecture, the minimalism concepts, the modular writing? So this is what I would like to touch upon and then open it out to everyone and get some best practices on it. So there are two folds to it. When we try to implement the information architecture or any concepts, there are two folds to it. One is the way we write, right? We're all authors, we're all writers. So the way we write it, and then the how we can get the help from the tools to accomplish what we are trying to achieve. So these are the two folds to it. So going with modular documentation, if you see, um, there are, I would like to again take three concepts that Kurt Ament has shared. So based on that literature on modular documentation, it's chunk text into logical standalone topics, then label the topics with clear and meaningful titles, and link related topics to each other. So one other challenge that we find here, that we find in our documentation is like there are certain legacy content which are available. The content will be available, but then you need to stitch those different topics together to make sure that a workflow is there, right? So, and one more thing is like what we try to do here at Gigamon in my company is like when we want to try to stitch those topics together, we try to come up with a kind of a roadmap topic when I'm trying to accomplish a particular task, a particular feature, workflow. I would like to understand a very high level overview of the list of sequential tasks that I need to perform to make sure that uh, that particular flow is completed. So for that, we try to come up with the kind of a roadmap topic that will give you everything, like to start with how do you get started, what are the prerequisites, and then how do you deploy or configure a particular thing, and then how do you manage, and then in case if there are any issues that comes up, how do I troubleshoot? So everything put together as one. So that's the topic that I call it as stitching the different topics together. So that's one thing. You can also, as they're saying, this is somewhat related to the linking the related topics together, right? So that is one thing. And then having all your topics as standalone topics. So every topic, every information that you're trying to give should be a standalone topic, but it can also be pulled into various other uh, workflows so that it is meaningful. The workflow is meaningful. And so for this, there are tools also available, and the way you write it and the tools available. So I would like to understand some of the best practices that each of you uh, have in your organization. Some of the best practices with respect to the writing, as well as what is the tool that you use. How do you use that tool to make sure that this is accomplished?
Anyone would like to go ahead and share?
Yeah, Puneet, hi, sir. Hi, Puneet. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, it's a bit feeble, but yeah,
Uh,
we can hear you.
okay, is this better?
Yes, a bit better, Anindita. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, thanks, Satya, for your overview. I mean, it kind of, it's helpful because it kind of reaffirms what I believe in. I So just to give a background, I am kind of a data fangirl. So the modular writing concept, I took from Gita, but now what I'm trying to do is implement it through Markdown. So, so what I've done is I've like what you were saying, modular topics. You create this modular topics, and then you could and one of the best practices that I follow for my writing is whatever content I want to reuse, I keep in a different folder altogether. Very tempting to use those convex concept of data to kind of include that content from file A to file B, but at some point in the future, it will be spaghetti code. You don't know which file is linking to which file and where this content is being pulled from. So one of the best practices that I tend to follow is whatever common content I'm going to reuse, a chunk of text or a paragraph or a procedure that is repeated across topics. I keep in a common folder and link only from there. Link or include it in Toto in my the other topic.
The content reuse folder. So
So
you have a
this
separate folder for content reuse, shared
exactly.
topics kind of a thing. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a very good practice. Yes, we try to do that. And one other thing that we try to do is we are using Madcap Flare in our organization. So here you can quickly create snippets. So in case if there are any uh, common content that you're going to reuse across your doc set, we also try to create snippets, and it's very easy way of creating it. And so that particular content, we can just select it and then click create snippet. The snippet gets created, and it gets stored in a separate snippet folder itself. So that also the tool takes care of it. So all those, when we create it as a snippet, it means that we are doing a content reuse of that snippet. So and then we can pull that snippet into various other sections that we are trying to reuse, and we do that. So that is one thing that Madcap Flare I like about Madcap Flare, which is very easy, and creating the snippets is very easy. So any tools that you use similar to this, like where it's very it makes your life simple?
So when you say snippet, is it's at the topic level or it's just the content that you're talking about?
It's the content.
It's the content. Okay. So we
Content you can
use
also create as topics as well.
okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
we create make them as variables, and so we save them as variables. For example, if a particular directory path or a file name is being repeated, just for the sake of consistency, we create variables and we store it so that we can pull them in as and when we require.
Yeah, that's also a kind of a product name, the long name, short name,
Yes, yes,
those things,
yes.
right? Yeah, yeah, that's a very good option. Where again, when we do all those rebranding stuff, that comes very handy. We don't
And
have
when
to
we
go
have,
and
yeah,
yeah,
in a multi-writer environment, uh, one shouldn't capitalize something and one shouldn't lowercase something.
very true, very true. Yeah, standardization is very important. Yeah, I understand. So, any other tools, best practices that you'd like to share, or how do you? One is tools, and then how do you author? Like, yeah, um, do you maintain any kind of a feature template or a particular when you are going to author a particular feature? These are the mandatory sections that you need to have, and so that kind of a template structure do you have in your organizations? How do you handle it?
Hi Uttara, I'm Tanushree.
Yeah, hi Tanushree.
So for this, what I have learned in my previous organization, um, and what I implement in my current organization is that I sit down with the product manager and I try to understand the user. So when for example, our company is going migrating from version 1 to version 2, and the changes are in terms of UI. So there are going to be two kinds of users of the second version of the product. One who is new to the product, the new customers who are going to come in. The second is going to be old customers who are going to get migrated from the first version to the second version. So that sort of acts as a principle for me when in terms of authoring, like what are they going to think? Like for example, a particular function was on the right hand, on the right side or top right. Now it's probably in the bottom left. So those kind of things is, I mean, at least for author in terms of authoring, I use that as a thumb rule.
Okay, okay, good. Thanks, Tanishri. And with respect to any other best practices that any of you use for feature authoring, where you want to implement this kind of a workflow based documentation?
Hi, Uttara. This is Anindita.
Hi, Anandita.
In Hi. So in my organization, we implement information mapping on our documents. So we have a kind of template for not for the legacy content, because it is not possible to implement information mapping on the huge legacy content that we already have, but at least for the new features or the new products that coming up, we try to implement it wherein the 6 types of information, they are there's a template for all. I mean, keeping all the 6 types of information in a proper flow, where you have a how do I section, and those sections are again mapped to the UI definition section. So that is the kind of template that we use in our organization to structure the content. And information mapping, it helps to structure the content in a perfect way, with the proper workflow and proper flow of information, and everything takes care of everything. So that is working for us.
Okay. And you were talking about 6 sections, right? Like, what are the 6 sections that
Yeah,
you...
if you go to, if you, any information available in the world, they are of actually 6 types of information. One is concept, then there is structure, then there are procedures. uh, I kind of forgot, actually. There are
Okay,
6
that's
of
fine.
them.
That's okay.
And
Okay.
if you look, I mean, you can go to internet and check for the 6 types of information for information mapping. You can find all those information.
Okay. Okay. That's nice to know. Yeah. And you brought in a very good topic, Anindita, about implementing it in legacy, right? So going forward, yes, in the new features, we are able to actually come up with a template and put it in, and authoring from scratch for new features is working. But then uh, our doc set has both legacy and new, like it's not just new, right? So it has both these things. So any ideas about how we can implement this kind of information architecture in our legacy content? Because in our organization, if you see, there are a lot of legacy content which are menu based actually, and there is a vast difference when you go and see our the guide. Some of the legacy content will be exactly menu based, and the new content will be actual the feature flow, the workflow kind of a thing. And we are finding it actually it's very challenging, and we are finding it very difficult because we don't have the time, as we were discussing. Like we are so engrossed in the release management activities, and the releases comes very like 2 months or 3 months once major release, and then every month minor releases, hot patches, and things like that. So, any idea, anyone can share any thoughts on how do you uh, kind of transition your legacy content into this information mapping or information architecture, the workflow based content, from the menu based to the workflow based.
Okay. And actually, my internet is very poor here, so I did not get to hear the entire question. In my company also, so we have lots of legacy document. Implementing information mapping on these legacy document is a very difficult job. So that's why, and also there are customers who are using those content, and they are, kind of traditional customer, and they don't want to move to a different type of different structure of the document. So getting a buying in from them to implement this kind of structural changes in the document is again a very tedious job. So we are working on them, we are trying to convince them, we are trying to show small samples of content where we have implemented this, and trying to show it to them that how it is going to change, and how it's going to improve the document. So those things we are doing, and it is a long and a gradual process. But for in those legacy document, there are certain sections which we are like, some pages or some UI that we are some windows which we are developing recently, like the new features for that particular application, if we are coming up with anything like that. So in those sections, for the help content, and for those section, we are trying to put information mapping in that. So that's how we're doing it.
Okay, okay, that's good, Anindita. Thanks for sharing.
So we have a bunch of legacy documents. What we did was when we were convert. It's not a very strong process, but this is something that we tried actually. When we were converting it from, they were all stored in Word. So we were converting from Word to XML. We didn't actually go in for any auto converter. It's not a machine converted thing. So we manually converted. It was actually a longish process, but it kind of helped us segregate the content roughly, not the way we would like to do it, but roughly actually at least put them together separately. I mean, put them separately, and have some kind of semi workflow sort of a thing incorporated. Okay, so that is something that we did, and it looks okay. It doesn't look all that bad. And second, what we are doing is we have kind of accepted the fact that legacy content will be like that, and very frankly, legacy content is not something that a lot of people are actually revisiting now these days, because most of the clients are existing people, so they do know how to use the older features. They probably don't even visit our documentation for help, but what they really want to know is how the newer features are functioning. So we take a lot of care in writing the new feature according to the latest standards, but the old ones are still in their own form. If we are going to onboard any new customers, then we will give them walkthroughs and demos, and the sales people take care of that, because anyway our document is not an all encompassing document where it's not implementation specific. So it really is not harming too much like what we are thinking. But the new content is where I think I would place my money in, because that is where that is the newer feature that everybody is interested. The newer features are the ones that everybody is interested in.
Well said, Gayatri. Thanks. And yeah, so we all need to yeah, so legacy content is something, as Gayatri said, people will know how to handle it. But there are in our organization, what happens is like the maintaining that, right, like a lot of content is outdated. And when there are outdated content, so somewhere where we try to give some kind of a limitations in some of the some of the sections, those limitations may not be valid now. So when people go and look at it, there are a lot of customer escalations that comes up where it is given in the document like this, but it is not working like that. So, and then we don't revisit. But one problem is we don't have time to revisit the existing documentation to make sure it's valid, it's technically accurate. So that's
I
one
fully
problem
agree.
that.
Yeah. Oh, talk about that. I have a bunch of bugs sitting on my head now. I don't know. I really do not know when I'm going to get to them.
I know, I know. So yeah, that's one problem. Yeah.
Great
But
going.
when
Anybody
the
else have? Yeah,
yeah,
please go ahead.
I have a rather like a query in this case, like what Uttara and Gayatri mentioned regarding having some content that is outdated or still needs to be revisited. But some of it is very technical, so sometimes you cannot necessarily even be sure to validate or verify that content. How do you deal with such cases? Like it needs somebody to review it.
Exactly, and sometimes the people who knows about that particular feature would have left the organization itself, so you will
Possibly,
not
yeah.
even know whom to
Whom to
reach out to.
contact? Yeah, yeah.
So here we are trying. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Gayatri.
Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead. You wanted to share some thoughts, so go ahead.
Okay, not really actually, but I would like to add probably, Revati, the people who actually find issues in our documentations are these customer support representatives, or the people who speak to the customers directly. So they are the ones who log the bugs, log the tickets. So we try to get information from them directly, because they are actually really, they know how it is actually used in the customer environment.
Right.
And if they do not have the answers, then they have to point us to someone who might be able to help us. That is the only route we take, because we really can't be we really can't be spending time hunting down the person who can provide us with information.
Correct, correct. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Gayatri. Yeah, so that's somewhat similar what I was also trying to say. Like here, we also get all these bugs from the customer support only, and so what here what we are trying to do is, of course, we've not yet implemented. These are all some plans that we have, where we're just trying to go with the list of bugs that has come up in which area, and then the customer CSAT survey results. So we go with the CSAT survey results and then go through the different uh, the documentation survey that they have done. Like they would have given very satisfactory or dissatisfactory or whatever. So those areas we just take it up, and then we go to the partner and then ask them what it is and why are they not satisfied, what is the information that they really need which is not there in the in our guide, and then we try to see how we can come up with solutions for that. But again, we are trying to do that and kind of phased manner, so identify one particular area as phase one for phase one and then do it, because these are really long term goals. So that's what we are trying to do. So the other thing I would like to touch upon is the minimalism concept. So anyone who can share about the minimalism, we've heard about minimalism, and so anyone who can share their thoughts on minimalism, what according to you is minimalism?
Yeah. I'll share whatever little I know. So
Sure.
reducing the number of screenshots because the screenshots make the document bulky. Whenever you have content that can do the job that the screenshot does, you avoid screenshots. Try to get rid of redundant words. For example, instead of saying in order to save the file, just say to save the file. Use more active voice rather than passive voice, unless you're not sure of who's done the action, or if you don't want to accuse the customer of a wrong action.
Only those are the exceptions where you use passive voice. Yeah, these immediately come to my mind.
Thanks, Revati. Yes. Yeah, those are some of the very good points that you shared. And when we come up, Gayatri, you want to share something?
Yeah, I wanted to also add to what Revati said that we are no more writing about this, the the basic steps that a guy as geeky as implementation guy would be anyway knowing, like how to export, how to delete, how to save, all these very basic stuff. We have now stopped writing. We are writing only configuration steps these days in our documents.
Right.
Very true. Yes. And when Revati, you started with saying the graphics. So yeah, a lot of unwanted graphics. So those can be removed. So how do you handle it? When you want to replace those unwanted graphics, do you go with some kind of animated GIFs?
No, we haven't done any of that yet. But
Okay.
currently, in my current organization, the way we are doing it is the user guides are used mainly as a contractual document, and the online help is what is typically used. And since the online help will go with the product, it is contextual help. So we have the UI right there. But
Yeah,
having
you
said
don't need
that,
screenshots.
yeah,
Yeah.
the exceptions we make is when if it's a very complicated UI, in that case, we may probably consider a screenshot. Or if we are trying to explain a scenario, let's say we want the user to we want to give a example and we want to suggest to the user a certain kind of configuration that he or she can do. So in that case, instead of explaining each and every step, we will show a filled in form, so to say. So the user interface with all the fields filled in, we'll take a screen grab of that and put it in the document. So it's either content or it is a screenshot. We try and stick to that formula as far as possible, and to that extent, even try and minimize screenshots for that matter.
That's good, guy, Revati. Yes, so that's similar, somewhat similar what we do here as well, where you said the filled-in form, one screenshot at the end of a procedure is what we try to give. That's for the PDF output, and we do have an online documentation, not online help, but online documentation which is published as HTML output. So for that, we try to give the GIFs, animated GIFs, short, less than 30 seconds animated GIF of how this entire configuration or entire flow can be done. So that is that we try to give it at the end of the procedure, and we conditionalize that for the HTML output. And the static screenshot, like what you said, right? The forms filled in, a static screenshot that we conditionalize for the PDF output.
But do you normally keep this screenshot for every procedure?
Not every procedure. It's
Only for
as you said,
complicated ones.
only for complicated ones where it's kind of difficult. Yes, only for that. Not for every single procedure. We don't do that.
And
Yeah,
what is the tool you use for creating these GIFs?
Snagit.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
And
record it as a screen motion and you convert it as a GIF, is it? How do you do
yes,
it exactly?
yes, like a video, like a screen video,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
create animated GIFs. And we can also edit the complete video that we record. So
Okay.
not generally, it may not all procedures will have only 30 seconds. So it may the loading time and other things, it may be there. So once you capture that video, you can edit it, and then you can have it as animated GIFs. So you have an option to create GIF image. So, and there are certain settings that you need to give, and the frame and other things, and then you can create the GIF from there.
Okay. So which means that when you add this GIF in the HTML page, you kind of don't explain that in words, right? You only give the video.
We do explain it in words as well, but then not very elaborate explanation. I mean, we do. It's a kind of a procedure. So whatever it is, the procedure will be there. The task topic will be there, and then a kind of, instead of a screenshot, we try to give it as a short video. So it becomes easier. So we are also trying to come up with a kind of a layout where you have a video and the steps side by side. So it becomes easier for the customers
Okay.
also to, they can even run the video, or they can choose to go and just look at the steps. So both we are trying to give.
Okay.
And do you
And how
normally
does this
embed?
appear
Thank.
on a PDF?
Sorry, Gayatri?
How does this appear on a PDF? The GIFs that you embed?
No,
You
that's
don't. You
what.
conditionalize only for
Yeah,
HTML.
yes, because the PDF GIFs doesn't work. Like, of course, we can make it work, but then it is a very cumbersome process where every
Yeah.
GIF you need to include it, and it becomes very difficult for maintenance. So we try to conditionalize that for HTML output. So GIFs are only for HTML output, and the static screenshot that we give is only for PDF.
Okay.
So that's how we are
Thanks,
trying.
Sutra.
Yeah. Yes, Revati.
One question on the similar lines. Do you house the GIF short videos in a different server, or is it when you think you're embedding it in the help file? How does it get pulled in? Does it sit in the library that has other images and other things in the help file, in the help file folder, which basically houses all the media files, or do you basically save this GIF on some server and then it gets called each time a customer tries to access the HTML page?
No, it's not the help file I'm saying. It's the I mean, online help is different. Like, we do have online help that we are trying to do, but this is like the Madcap Flare. We have it, and we do have a graphics folder within Madcap Flare itself. So we put all our, be it GIFs or be it static images, anything. We have it in the graphics folder, and then we link to it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. I think that's a great discussion and uh, lots to learn. Utra, you want to add something else, or else we will wind up this?
Yes, we can. I think we've covered. I'm sure the tech writing concepts is a huge, vast topic, but then we were able to cover some portion of it. So
Certainly,
yes,
yeah.
that was a very
There
good
are a lot of
conversation that we
things.
had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's how when we discuss, we learn. So that's great. Thank you so much, Utra, for anchoring and taking up this. And thanks to all the contributors and all others also. I hope this helps. And in case, I mean, you want to take this discussion further, like Utra mentioned, there are a lot of things to discuss in all this, right? So use the WhatsApp group, Slack group, or the Telegram group. If you are from different cities, I will recommend go to the Slack or Telegram group where all of you can meet each other and keep the discussions on. And so with this, we end the open forum session. Thanks again, Utra, for
Thanks,
taking
Puneet.
this up. Yeah,
Thanks, Puneet.
and thank